we are back again, all together, sort of, online through the magic of the web, the World Wide Web, together again.
I don't like
we're still figuring out the intro of this thing, so what you guys got? that's my take.
I poured my heart and soul into that fake voice impersonators thing.
Come on, give us another impression, Christian.
Who's an actor that is mute?
Simeon, what'd you say?
He said he's an actor who's mute.
Who's mute?
do Nick Offerman. do what's his Ron Swanson.
Hold on, yeah. So what it appears to be is a podcast, and it's where babbling idiots talk on concepts they don't understand. It's one of the few things that I like about organized religion. I don't know.
Love it. But yeah, we are back again. This is we at least we have a title now. It's we made that movie. So for the people watching the first episode, thank you. But also,
but disclaimer: we also actually did not make the movie for legal purposes. Our lawyers told us that we had to say that we did not actually make the movie. So if you want to make the movie, you can make it.
Yeah, just maybe give us a cameo, like Jay and Silent Bob. made a career.
Yeah, you can do it, but we'd be really upset about it if you guys did.
Please, can we be in a movie? Please. Okay, well, I think we should probably start thinking about, some pitch ideas, plot premises. What do you guys think?
Let's do it.
Pitch. Yeah, we got 54 now. Let's go. Okay,
54?
I'm throwing it in. Same.
Did we do 3 and a suicide, right?
Yeah, 3 and a suicide.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it that, but yeah.
3 and a Hail Mary.
3 and a Hail Mary. Okay, I like it.
Catholics get mad at us for that.
We got 37. What's 37?
37. Airport baggage worker makes an unlikely discovery in a piece of baggage.
Okay. 44.
44. Apple and Android users. That's the prompt. That's it.
Sounds like a comedy.
Whoever donates more money gets to win. That's what I've been saying for years about a DC Marvel crossover. The fandom that donates the most money gets to have their characters not get obliterated.
Okay, we got 11.
11. A runaway. A runaway groom.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Some solid premises. So whoever came up with those of the three of us.
Let's see. Okay, so how are we feeling about those, or should we roll the dice?
We rolled the dice last time, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I think. I don't know. I'm feeling the airport baggage worker.
I am kind of feeling the runaway groom, but the baggage worker one also seems interesting. The thing I'm wondering with that is I wonder how far we can take that. But we were amazed last time at what we could do, so I believe in us. So I'm down. I'd be fine for that.
We can do the runaway groom. I think they're both good premises.
I'm feeling runaway groom. Okay. I feel like I'm kind of hoping we get a horror because I feel like they're kind of fun.
The other,
we'll see
the genre and the hook and all that.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of genre, out of 18.
Okay, 18. Okay, we got 7.
Historical fiction.
Ooh.
Okay.
Good.
That could work.
Is that the same as a period piece?
I feel like period piece is it could be true sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I.
In historical fiction, there's no way it could be true.
Yeah.
That moon landing? No, it's not true.
Okay, 7 and 16.
Did we only do one? Did we do multiple spins?
We did one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we just did one.
Historical fiction's fine.
Okay, historical fiction.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. And then let's see. Hooks. We got 36 of them. All right.
207.
3.
3. It's their birthday. Okay, that's a solid choice.
And 3, a 35.
35, a cuckoo clock.
Ooh, period historical fiction.
That could be the thing they find in their bag.
Stranger Things.
Okay. We roll 3 on this one, right?
I think so.
24.
24. A series of events all take place in one neighborhood.
Oh, interesting. Okay, let's see.
Those are all pretty solid.
And I agree. What are y'all feeling?
Do you think we want to roll the dice?
I think we could make one of these work. I'm not drawn to any of them, None of them blow up my skirt. None of them get me excited.
Hot under the collar. Let's roll again, John.
Let's do a Hail Mary.
All right. 16.
16 was heavily bullied as a kid.
Oh, that's dark. Oof. He was heavily bullied by Abraham Lincoln. It's
and that man is John Wilkes.
Yeah, it's about John Wilkes Booth running away from his. Okay, good stuff so far. Good stuff.
Did we decide that we're going to do multiple actors or not?
I think we said that we had to pick 2, but I think we rolled like 4. Okay. If I remember right. We have a lot more of 2, so we could even roll more than that if we want to. I still think 2 at least.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got how many actors? Shoot, we got
a lot.
157.
The ones that we could think of off the top of our heads.
Also, which of you added Sydney Sweeney?
Here's me.
Okay.
She's talented, okay?
For the plot. Hey, don't knock Madam Web.
Oh yeah, that's true. How are y'all feeling about that one? I'm not going to watch it.
See it.
I don't care. We do not care.
Okay. Actors, we got 27.
27. That's Karl Urban.
Nice.
Okay.
I think a new rule. I'm doing playground rules. I'm just adding as I go. I think whenever we pick our actors going forward, we should share like some of their most well-known pieces, because if listeners don't know,
that's fair.
That's a good thing.
I think last time we did that with Ian McShane, but that's because you guys didn't know who that was.
So Karl Urban.
112.
112. But God, that's Damian Lewis. Who's Damian Lewis?
Oh, he's the guy. Okay, well, here we go. Damian Lewis is well known for his roles in Band of Brothers as
he's good. Yeah,
Dick Winters. He was in Homeland and Billions.
Yeah, he's a real good actor.
Very good looking. He was considered for the role of James Bond after Daniel Craig. Is that his name was?
Yeah.
Daniel Craig.
Yeah. Damian Lewis was also in Once Upon a Time as Steve McQueen. So,
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with him, but I think he could pull off a runaway groom or somebody else in the movie.
Have to be the groom, right?
Yeah, he could be somebody else.
Evil father-in-law.
Okay, we got, let's see, 84.
Number 84, come on down. That is Christian. It's your man, Christopher Walken.
Hey.
Oh, man.
He plays a 23-year-old. Nobody acknowledges the fact that he's like 80.
It's like that Clint Eastwood movie, the one a couple years ago. He played like a 30-year-old, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, did he really?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called. I didn't watch it, but I know people were talking about it. I think it was like, I think it was set in Mexico, and
like The Mule.
It wasn't The Mule, but it was around that time. All right, one more spin.
All right, we got, let's see, 28.
28. Give me J.K. Simmons.
Ethan, who's the nearest actress to J.K. Simmons on the list?
Nearest actress? Yeah, I feel like that's fair. The closest to J.K. Simmons is Rachel McAdams, who I am a huge fan of. Good. Again, for her acting. Actually, she's a good actress. She's a good actress. Doctor Strange's girlfriend. She's in The Notebook, right?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. But yes, Mean Girls is probably the most famous one. So we're going Rachel McAdams instead of J.K. Simmons?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to pick 2. At least 2 of those. We could always use anybody we want, but we have to pick at least 2 of those.
Here's the chink in the armor of our podcast is I really don't know young actors like Timothy Chalamet is
Sydney Sweeney.
I know. Will Poulter, but if I had to like keep naming people, like I don't know who would play like a 19-year-old groom, if we were to do that. That's
fair. I feel like I know some younger actresses, but there's not as many young like male actors that are like in low 20s, like early 20s.
Look the same.
Well, that's fair. I mean, Timothy Chalamet is not even that young either. I feel like anymore. He just looks young.
Fair enough.
I don't know how old he is actually, but just guessing.
No, that's a good point. He looks like a baby.
I mean, the runaway groom doesn't have to be 21, and Karl Urban could be a groom. You can get married any age,
Love is blind.
I remind myself of that frequently. Thank you, Ethan.
Okay, so we have Runaway Bride,
Walken, Damian Lewis, Karl Urban, and Rachel McAdams.
Okay, so let's see here. Who you guys feeling? I like for this historical fiction.
Well, just without even knowing like what we're gonna go with in terms of the like, historical fiction side of it, just the runaway groom part, I think either Karl Urban or Damian Lewis makes sense as the groom, I think. And then I think you could either go with Rachel McAdams as the bride, or you could go Christopher Walken as like the father of the bride or something like that, or the father of the groom. As like
I was thinking Christopher Walken could play the role of the minister who's supposed to wed the two. And we don't have to run with this plot thread, but like he spends the movie doing a sort of Catch Me If You Can with the groom.
So like Christopher Walken is gonna catch Karl Urban or vice versa?
If Karl Urban is the groom, then yeah, the minister, let's say I don't know, he gets paid a lot of money or he's really close with both of their families. Maybe, I don't know. We don't have to go with that, but that was just a plot thread that came to mind.
I think we could make him work somewhere. Christopher Walken.
Let's do Christopher Walken and Karl Urban. Like Christopher Walken, just because I haven't seen him in anything in a while, so get him a leg up.
Karl Urban and Christopher Walken. You are part of our next movie, which we have not titled yet.
Christopher Walken, of course, known for the 1980-something adaptation of Puss in Boots.
He's also in Batman. Which is the Batman with the penguin?
Returns.
Batman Returns, yes. Christopher Walken, I don't remember his character's name.
Max Schreck, yeah.
I think he's God in Click, the Adam Sandler comedy.
I think you're right.
I mean, who can forget he's also in the Needs More Cowbell SNL skit.
SNL Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Legendary.
Jack.
And then Karl Urban, I don't think we mentioned what he was in earlier. He's in The Boys, hit TV show on The Boys. He's also in Thor, right?
Yeah,
the second Thor.
Ragnarok.
Yes, he is. I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah. And Éomer in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's right. He is in Lord of the Rings. Karl Urban.
He's in
those like Star Trek movies that what's it called? Chris Pine did.
He's in a lot of different franchises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's technically Judge Dredd right now.
What do you mean technically?
That's just the last Judge Dredd movie that came out. He was Dredd.
He's rumored to also be playing Johnny Cage in the second Mortal Kombat movie. Not confirmed.
That'd be cool.
Technically shouldn't slander. He was in the hit cinematic masterpiece Doom from 2005 starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
He was in the Rise of Skywalker as an uncredited stormtrooper. Who wasn't, though?
Yeah, Daniel Craig was.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of celebrities that were in there, if I remember right.
Was he in any of the Expendables movies? Because I feel like at this point everybody has.
Karl Urban?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be on there at some point, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, we have Karl Urban and Christopher Walken, among other actors. So I think we need to start making this movie, guys.
Yeah. Anybody have anything that stands out to them that they just want to share? I have no ideas right now.
Runaway groom, historical fiction. I mean, you could go a lot of ways with this. I'm thinking like Napoleonic Wars. He gets chased. He like is not even in Napoleon's army. Like he's adjacent to all the events. Like he's running east during like Napoleon's campaigns, or like, I guess they did just come out with the Napoleon movie, didn't they? I didn't think about that. Is this historical fiction? Like, is it a comedy? Is it a serious? Is it a drama? What do you guys think?
I'm feeling like an adventure title.
I mean, historical fiction doesn't have to be like, if we want to do an adventure, then I guess you'd have to do something maybe war related, but historical fiction just literally has to be, it took place in the past,
2020.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Because we also was heavily bullied as a kid. I don't think that really matters as much, maybe what we pick, but something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's during a time when the sanctity of marriage was questioned in the 1960s as like the free love movement?
Okay. Keep dribbling. Keep going.
Keep spinning some fire.
Turn upfield with the ball. Come on.
I got to make sure I watch the ball before I catch it. I can't just turn upfield. I don't know. I purposefully haven't tried to love or to learn a lot about like hippie movements and all that. But, counterculture, think like the 1950s was the white picket fence decade, and the 60s was the counterculture. 70s was also kind of that. Don't trust the government. Don't make love, not war. So, what if, is romance going to be a big part of the plot, or is it really just we never even meet his bride? What if it's kind of one of those? How in the Dark Knight the Joker always has a different reason for why his face is scarred. Like what if every time he meets somebody and they ask him why he's running, he says a different thing about his fiance that she did.
But we don't ever actually see the bride.
Yeah.
So it just starts out he's already running away, and we don't really know exactly what from at first. But then we find out he's a runaway groom, but we don't know why because he keeps telling us different things.
Yeah. So, I mean, the term runaway bride or runaway groom, it kind of evokes The Graduate, Does it really have to be that he's actively running, or is it just that he skipped out on his own wedding?
No, just that he skipped out. He doesn't have to be running physically, but he's trying to get away, I guess.
Well, I'm thinking he's a runaway groom. It sends him to some coastal town in New England, just somewhere on the coast, really small town. Maybe he's from the big city, everybody's all the women are swooning over him. He kind of run, he's just kind of he pumps gas or he stocks shelves in the 1960s or 70s. And, everybody's wondering why this guy is single, but, he doesn't really want to talk about his past. And the movie can kind of be about him being torn between, I should be a man and I should go back and get married because that's what the right thing to do is, versus I'm doing fine here in this little, I'm making my own life now sort of thing.
So it's more like a drama?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah. What's Eating Gilbert? It's really nothing happens in the movie. There's kind of an overall, plot, but it's just sort of a slice of life sort of thing. We don't have to run with that.
I like the feeling of 60s hippie kind of cultural. I think that'd be a cool place to start. I'm trying to think in terms of the bully thing. What if what's it called? His wife's family runs a really corrupt company that maybe runs a corrupt, school or something like that, a private school that he was bullied in, and, they knew and they let it happen or something. Or it could be he has a scar or a limp or something that
a
came
accident
from him being bullied as a kid, and due to the medical advances at the time, they weren't really able to fix it in the sense of he's unblemished or
Forrest
anything
Gump,
but
where he has things on his legs.
What'd you say? Sorry.
He's sort of he's Forrest Gump, and he's got braces on his legs. That's why
something like that. He carries that with him.
Or what if what if he was bullied not for any particular reason as a kid? He was just so unremarkable. He's just normal kid. Dad works as a mechanic, and so he gets picked on by the rich kids because that's just what rich kids do. And so he grows up with this sort of fragile self-worth, and that, that encourages him to, get really fit and to have a really nice car, a 65 Mustang or something like that. And the runaway groom part is that he met this beautiful woman and he was oh my gosh, I'm someone now. But there's some triggering event that from his past, some triggering word or some person that he sees, and it just hits him like a ton of bricks. So oh my gosh, deep down I still am that unimportant kid. It kind of brings back all the trauma, and so he goes on the run, or he calls the wedding off or something like that.
Yeah, I think I like that start. The thing I'm trying to figure out in my head is, what does the movie look like after he actually calls the wedding off, runs away, quote unquote? Is he going on this road trip, and the movie's like a journey, like a a self-realization movie, or like a a spiritual personal journey type movie? Is there like a adventure that he actually goes on, or like another
maybe we could incorporate also Jonathan's idea of his fiance's dad is makes lava lamps because it's the 60s, right? Or some very 60s item, but they're like defective, and so he calls off the wedding and is actually trying to like expose this company for being unsafe, or making a bad product or something. Like maybe they make frozen dinners, and the food quality is really, really bad, but nobody realizes it.
Or what if the bride's dad is like a politician? The 60s is like very anti-government. So maybe there's like this whole, like he's struggling with the fact that her dad is like this maybe corrupt politician, this like pro-Vietnam War politician, go USA type.
Walken.
Yes, played by Christopher Walken, who I think actually could play that very well. And then it's kind of like he's trying to either fight back against the government guy, like the politician, or like, or I don't know if exposing, like maybe it's something corrupt, maybe to do with like the war. Maybe there's something that the politician dad is like involved with something shady in terms of like weapons dealings or something with, the Vietnam War or, something like that.
Oh, and maybe okay. I like that. He is very anti-war. The bride's dad is about to pass some legislation that's going to further the war, more people, more draftees, more, or maybe he's going to sell arms to the Viet Cong or something. And so Karl Urban calls off the wedding to distract the dad, because he's like, he's a daddy's girl. And so he's like, the longer I can keep this off, the longer, maybe I can, maybe he has a friend in Congress, or I don't know. Like, they have to make sure that they create this drama in the politician's personal life with his daughter, so that way he can't focus on getting this legislation or this decision made.
I feel like we're close to busting this wide open.
I think we're close. I mean, go ahead. No, you got it.
I do think having Karl Urban, he was in his 50s, it does make it harder, because that would mean that he was born in like the 20s or 30s. And so he would be a little bit older, and so probably a little less peace, love, and drugs,
Yeah, he's a little bit older than I thought. We can have somebody else be the groom. Karl Urban doesn't have to be the groom.
Let's do Elle Fanning as the bride and Jacob Elordi as the groom.
Who are they, Jonathan?
Jacob Elordi's like a cool young actor now.
Jacob?
And then Elle Fanning's Dakota Fanning's little sister.
Okay, but what are some of the things that they've been in? Do you know?
What'd you say?
What are some of the things that they've been in?
Elle Fanning, I was just looking her up the other day. She is
Maleficent, The Great. Okay, I know who she is.
Yeah.
She's in a show that was on Hulu a while back that I watched. That was
who was the other that you said?
Jacob Elordi. He's in Euphoria and like Kissing Booth movies. He's kind of a teen.
Okay.
Teen heartthrob.
Young adult. Yeah.
Okay. Karl Urban is Jacob Elordi's uncle, who is a lieutenant, like a black ops lieutenant in the Vietnam War.
Okay,
comes back,
yeah.
Is all messed up. Christopher Walken is going to pass. He's going to vote. He's going to introduce a bill that's going to like remove veterans' rights. It's going to remove rights for veterans who were involved in covert operations, because they don't want the truth getting out about like what they've done over in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. So Jacob Elordi is like, I can't let that happen, because like my uncle is like really messed up and he needs that care. And so he's calling off the wedding for that.
I think let's take that plot point and run with it like throughout the story. And like, let's say Elle Fanning is on her dad's side. Like, my daddy's a good man, and I know that, I trust him, and with whatever decisions he's got to make for his company. And don't you understand?
I do want to point out that Christopher Walken is 80 years old, so I don't know if that would be. Elle Fanning is 25, so I don't know if they would be father and daughter. Maybe grandfather.
Maybe he's grandfather, but like her father passed away, so like the grandfather raised her.
Yeah, or the father's just like a pissant who's like no spine.
Her father's John Cryer.
John Cryer being in
2.5 Men.
Okay. Yes, perfect. John Cryer is the dad. I like it.
Honey, you just have to listen to Grandpa. He knows what he's doing.
I think I like this direction we're going.
Which part?
Just the bride being either the daughter or the granddaughter of this politician who's trying to either screw over veterans.
Watergate.
Ooh, that'd be also good. I was going to say something about like if it's Vietnam, maybe this either he's a politician or he has something to do like with Agent Orange. You know, like he's like, and they don't realize how dangerous it is. So the main character, Jacob Elordi, I guess now is the main character, is like trying to like tell people like, hey, this is what's going on. Because Karl Urban came back from the war and was like messed up, you know, and he finds out like this is what's going on over there. This is an issue.
We could make it like Jacob Elordi's a scientist, like a young chemist who like works at, you know, this place that factory that Christopher Walken owns that makes this stuff, and he's looking into it and the effects and stuff like that, and he's like, you know, it's wrong, and I get that I'm supposed to marry your granddaughter, but you know, I can't support this and stuff like that.
Yeah, like she's on his, you know, she's like, well, I don't see anything wrong. This is how my family's built, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so she's like on the side of, you know, she's against science, basically, I guess. I mean, you know, and he's like, well, I can't marry you because, what you stand for is, or I can't be married to something that represents, you know, something that's killing men in Vietnam or something.
So then does he sneak his way over to Vietnam if we're going to run with the actual runaway groom?
No, I don't think he has to go to Vietnam.
What if he like runs to maybe throughout the story he has a contact in DC that he's writing to about the effects of it, and you know, it could be like a senator or something like that he goes to DC and speaks on behalf of what you know, the atrocities and effects of Agent Orange and like speaks out against it, and on the day of his wedding that he does this.
Oh, like that's the only day that he could meet the person, his informant, is on his wedding day.
Mm-hmm, something like that, or like he planned on he just planned on being in DC and not at his wedding. On the day of his wedding to speak.
So that's not necessarily. So that's going to be sort of like the resolution almost. Mm-hmm. Is that throughout the movie they're building up this tension between his fiance that he loves, but this truth that he believes in, and so he's going to decide whether he wants to get married to this lady who's part of a family that's corrupt, or if he's going to miss that and go to DC.
Yeah. So like overall. Plot synopsis would be that actually what should we name the main character?
Mark,
good old Mark Berman. So yeah, like Mark Berman is a talented young chemist who has humble beginnings, comes from a small family. He still lives with his grandma and grandpa and parents and aunts and uncle in this one house on the tough side of town. It's in 2024, so you know we can say that he lives on the black side of town. You know, add some love there, and then he falls in love with the debutante of the town, Ellie Fanning's character, Mabel.
Jean.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, Jeannie.
Jeannie. Yeah, Jeannie.
And so, what's it called? After Jacob Elordi's character comes back from the big college, University of West Virginia,
Delaware.
let's say.
Yeah, West Virginia.
He comes back and goes to a town and starts working for Jeannie's grandpa. Jeannie and him just get closer and fall in love, and that could be like the first act of we see him we see them get engaged, and he starts this new job, and he's, we're helping with the war effort, and the spirits are high, and his life plan's pretty mapped out. It's going to be work at this place as eventually as a top chemist, marry this beautiful girl, and live in this town most likely forever, probably inherit this awesome house that she lives in with her grandpa, who's kind of weird. Like, we can give the vibe, like, that'll be a part of Christopher Walken's Oscar performance, is like he's kind of off edge and stuff like that, but like not, like it's he's an old guy, he's kooky, but
I don't think he has to act at that. I think that's just him.
Yeah, just Christopher Walken being Christopher Walken.
Christopher, just be yourself.
Yeah. And then kind of go into the second act. We bring in Karl Urban's character, and I guess we could probably introduce him in the first act too. Or we can introduce him like pre his time in war. Are we feeling this so far? What do you guys think?
I'm digging it so far. Keep going.
And so, second act,
we do see a scene in Vietnam where Karl Urban's leading a platoon of men on a raid, and they get Agent Orange dropped on them. That's the inciting incident.
That could also be the opening of the movie, kind of like, oh, we're in this action scene already, and that could be like the opening, and then it kind of cuts back to like the calm of the American town, wherever he lives, West Virginia, whatever.
Yeah,
and then we meet Karl Urban's character when he comes back, and like, oh, that's the guy that was in the first scene. He got, dumped with Agent Orange or whatever.
I like it. The only reason I think we could have Karl Urban be in the first act in a flashback before the Vietnam War as the guy who teaches Mark to stand up for himself from the bullies, because he's like a career military man. And he's like, them boys ain't ever going to respect you unless you know how to cock your fist, And then that's...
I like that, actually, because that could kind of be a theme of like standing up for yourself and like fighting for the little guys. Like, well, Karl Urban's character, he thought, I'm going to go fight for America. I'm going to fight for the little guy. Like, he has this kind of backwards. And then what's the name? Mark, his character kind of also realized once he starts to try to expose this Agent Orange, I don't know what you'd call it, like
chemical.
Yeah, like the plot. I don't know what you're just trying to expose, like the evil of it, and like that's how I'm going to fight for the little guy. It's like these soldiers in Vietnam think that they're fighting for us, but like they also need us to like fight for them because they're just over there. And it ties back to the bullying, see, because he was a little guy in school.
That's good. I'm feeling that. And so, the second act just goes in really to the scientific political drama of it, of he's getting more details about this stuff. There's people and management and things like that getting in his way. He wants to tell Jeannie about everything that he's finding, but he realizes that, Jeannie is in the bloodline of the enemy. And so he can't like just be like, oh, what your grandpa's doing is completely wrong and cut off her whole lifestyle. Go for it.
I'm just doing a little bit of browsing, and it occurred to me. So like in real life, Agent Orange, like the effects of it didn't really come out until a couple of decades after the war was over. So we would either need to move the timeline later, and we could say that the town owed its success to the Agent Orange production during the war. My thinking is what we could do is the grandpa is a manufacturer of ammunition, and there's this special type of bullet that his company is producing, and he has this big government contract that is going to make him lucratively rich because it fires faster and it's got better stopping power and all that. But the reason that Karl Urban's character gets hurt and his men get hurt is they're sent out with this ammunition without approval to see if it works, and then it literally explodes in their rifles, it jams their guns, and they just get decimated. And so the whole movie is a cover up, and we could still say that Mark works in the manufacturing plant maybe, and so he's trying to, like you said, maybe he's a chemist or maybe he's like some sort of scientist, but he's not a ballistics expert. So he's trying to piece together, basically like do like a home experiment to prove that these bullets don't work or that they're dangerous, but nobody believes them. And I don't know. What do you think?
I like
that. Yeah, that makes more sense.
And maybe he just goes to business school, and so he's just he went to business school, gets a middle management pretty easy, and I like that.
Okay, I like that because at first he is the one trying to promote the bullet. He's the one trying to convince the brass, the military contractors that they should pay for this bullet. They should pay for this ammunition. It's going to be cheaper to produce. It's going to be more effective. It's going to bring our boys home quicker. And then this big tragedy happens that affects his uncle,
Yeah.
And the reason that he, yeah.
Keep it rolling. Take your space.
And then what?
I'm trying to incorporate everything that we talked about so far. So Mark was just a nobody, in grade school, and he was friends with Jeannie. She sort of like felt bad for him, but he got picked on, and he realized that the only way that he could get out of being bullied, maybe it can be physically, it could be mentally, is he had to like talk his way out of it. Like he wasn't very physically imposing, but he learned kind of like charisma and like sales and all of that, like a salesman pretty much. Like he wanted people to like him, so he would sell anything. He would convince people not to beat him up if he, maybe he was like, well, I know a spot where the good milk cartons are,
He's like a negotiator, kind of.
He's a negotiator.
Good negotiator, yeah.
He's a middleman, so he's really good at that. And so, I am liking the Appalachian setting. So, yeah, there's there's a manufacturing plant that was, it boomed during World War II, and Jeannie's, I guess it could have still been her great-grandpa ran it during World War II. Right. And that was 20, 30 years ago. So now her grandpa owns it and it's struggling. It had the boom in World War II. The town kind of shrunk because they didn't need that plant anymore. So now the Vietnam War, that's where they see the opportunity and they have this new invention. Somebody invents it. And
we can even be like, you can have people like in the town super happy, like, more jobs are coming, more shifts are coming.
They don't know anything about it. They just are like, oh my gosh.
It's going to save the town.
It's going to save
getting money.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And maybe there could even be, since you're right, it's 2024. So we can, Quentin Tarantino got away with the N-word. How many times in Django Unchained? So like some pretty racist, cook them a lot, I don't know, like maybe the bullet expands once it hits somebody. Like it just does this terrible damage, but people either they don't know it or they're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what the US needs. They're like, we need to be more destructive and, just sort of like that, like you said, Ethan, that juxtaposition of like, yeah, USA with the hammer, and then the Vietnamese with just sort of like their tools or whatever. I'm trying to just think of like what a name for their like the patriarchal name. I'm thinking of like McGinley, like Jeannie McGinley, and her grandpa is like Harold McGinley. Or Henry McGinley.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
I guess John McGinley is actually an actor.
John McGinley.
Yeah. But
Dr. Cox.
Because I'm thinking like McGinley Firearms, McGinley Ammunition, like the McGinley packaging plant. Like I feel like that sounds very firearmish.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. I'm liking this. So first act, is kind of the a little bit of the backstory of how Mark got to where he is now. You think it's going to be a success. Actually, the second act is going to be, you think it's going to be a success story that Mark is pitching this, this miracle product, I guess you could say, to like military contractors, and he's making money hand over fist. Maybe he and Jeannie are going steady, but they're only engaged whenever, the product starts to take off. And so that's whenever they get engaged. He can afford a ring finally. Yeah. And so then like the catalyst for conflict is, yes, his uncle Rich Berman. Is that what we said? Mark Berman?
Yep.
Yeah.
Berman? Yeah. Rich Berman, Lieutenant Rich Berman, is on a mission out in, Cambodia and Vietnam. And he's given this special ammunition, with his men. And like he goes to fire it. It literally like blows the clip up in his face. And so he's like horribly mangled. He's sent home. And that's when Mark realizes like, oh my gosh, like I caused this. But Henry McGinley, the grandpa's like, if you know what's good for you, you'll keep this quiet.
We need this. This town needs this. America needs this.
Yeah.
No one gives a shoot about who made the bomb. They care about who dropped it. Get this crybaby out of here. But so I do feel like the second act into the third, because obviously the resolution, I think I agree with Jonathan. I think the resolution is like he does good. He leaves his own wedding to.
There should be like a person he connects with that's like a reporter in like Washington, D.C., this newspaper person that we don't meet until like maybe halfway through the film or like maybe early, kind of like second act. And he's like, oh, played by Damian Lewis, sure. And he's like, oh, this is the guy I need to get with. I have to go to Washington and give him these like records that maybe he stole from like the company or whatever. Like, this is what's happening. This deal's about to go down and the government is about to sign this. They're sending these guys over there with these faulty bullets or whatever. It's like, that's why he leaves the wedding. He runs away is to take the information to the guy in Washington, D.C., who's like his reporter friend, I guess, or they somehow meet and like, oh, this is the guy that's going to get it out there. This is how we're going to spread the word. I like it. I feel like there does need to be a reason why he does leave Jeannie. I don't know. I feel like Jeannie needs to show her true colors at some point. I don't think that he should I don't think that he would leave her if it was not for a good reason.
Well, like I agree with you in the sense like he doesn't want to leave her at all. Oh, go ahead.
Or what if they both leave? What if it's a runaway groom and a runaway bride? What if they like on their wedding day they both leave? Like they don't tell anybody. Like literally like the venue set up, people are sitting there and like they drive the just married car all the way to Washington D.C. or something.
Oh, so she's with him.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that Jeannie, her character, I don't know, I feel like we should develop her character a little bit. She shouldn't just be the part there. Because I could see one of two ways. I could see she is so loyal to her family that anything Grandpa McGinley says is going to be gospel. And so she's so blinded by that. And maybe she even just is kind of like, well, screw the little guy. What if, a couple of bullets that backfired, like you can't prove that that's all of the bullets, right? Like maybe your uncle loaded it wrong. Maybe it's a small price to pay for us getting more bullets out there. More bullets means more firepower. More firepower means the U.S. win.
Yeah, I think that's how I see it. I think she's drank the Kool-Aid and believes that her grandpa is like the greatest man in America. Like he's saving America with these bullets, and like she's all in. I'm like, this is the only thing that we have to do this. Like this is right. It doesn't like see the negatives of it, or maybe even like maybe she's like the future like heir of the company, and so she's like one day going to be in charge. So she's like, we have to keep this company going. This is my future. Like this is my livelihood because my family built this company from the ground up or whatever.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. Here's a thought. I like that. What if she has an older brother who's 18? Who's going to be the heir to the company?
Wait, how old is she? She's not 18? Or she's younger than 18?
Oh, 17. I don't know. Okay, she's 18. Her brother is 20.
Okay.
Her brother's 20. She's 18. Her brother's 20. He gets drafted. She drinks the Kool-Aid, like you said. She drinks the Kool-Aid. He gets sent to Vietnam. He dies. Can be completely unrelated to the bullet thing. Like, doesn't even have to be related. Like, she could be on a complete different side of, like, the grief and the loss. And that's what makes her see, like...
So you're thinking she's pro bullets, or she's like sees her brother dies and she's like, oh, we have to stop this too? Or are you saying she should like help Mark?
I guess I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like, Jonathan, you've been quiet. Do you think that Jeannie is gonna have a clarity moment, or is she gonna stay aligned with her grandpa? Is he gonna leave her? Is Mark gonna leave Jeannie at the altar and he's the runaway groom, or are they gonna both say, screw the military industrial complex, we're going to DC?
If I'm watching this movie, I want them to run away together. If I'm like thinking about like as us as writers, I don't know anything about history, but like I think about now politically, like, when you think about like Israel and Gaza, or
careful
child slavery in other countries, or stuff happening in China, like
other lies like that.
Well, I think like, I feel like there's always been like there's like a middle ground apathy that people can have towards like tragedies and war and stuff like that. And so like thinking of her character, what if like she represents that in like, well, it's not like we can stop it. It's not like we can.
Yeah, I like that. It's
raise
not,
our hands and
it's
stop
not
this war.
cartoonish evil. It's, like people say, like, make sure you're on the right side of history. Sometimes being on the wrong side of history is just being indifferent.
Mm-hmm. And so
I like
now,
that.
Again, as a viewer, I'd rather see them like I already know I'm going to fall in love with them. I already have, and so I want them to run away together as a viewer.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Mark's dad. We haven't talked about yet, but you mentioned like their little podunk town in West Virginia. It's very tight knit. Maybe Mark does still live with his parents or like lives close to them. Mark's dad is played by. He's played by Jim Caviezel.
I like it.
Jim Caviezel. Actually, no, because Jim Caviezel wouldn't play an indifferent guy. Man, I can see somebody in my head, but I can't.
Oh, so keep going. What's the dad's?
The dad is the apathy. That even Uncle Rich's injury is not enough to convince him that like the bullets production needs to be stopped, because he's very much blue collar worker. Like, this is the best boom this town's ever seen. This is our livelihood. He's so tunnel visioned that even his own brother's injury doesn't sway him from that.
I like that, because
maybe Mark has this weird like connection to his family, throughout the movie, and then he leaves with Jeannie. And so they're both cutting the ribbon on their families in their hometown, and the military industrial complex literally personified in their small town.
I like it.
And they're leaving together.
Well, because like you're saying, like ultimately Uncle Richie lives with them, so it's like Mark's dad helps take care of him and all that stuff, and like helps him kind of get back on his feet. But it's also like, hey, it's a job. It's a good paying job. The war could end tomorrow. Like I don't know what's going on over there, but
who's to say,
I like that. That way I feel better about her, Mark and Jeannie going away together. I like that. Because
maybe Uncle Richie doesn't even know that it was those bullets. Like maybe he has no idea. So because I feel like it'd be unrealistic if Uncle Richie loaded those bullets into his gun and was trying to tell Gary, you gotta listen to me. These freaking bullets did this to me, and then Gary goes, nah. But I think if Mark figures that out, I don't know how he's gonna figure it out personally. I'm open to ideas on that. But then he tries to tell his dad, like, hey, this is what happened, and we've got to make sure we don't produce any more of these bullets, because if this gets into more guns, then more people are going to end up like Uncle Richie or worse, like the rest of his guys in his platoon. I am curious how you think Mark is going to discover like a secret document that he, maybe he in his, because we said that he's kind of a salesman, right? Like he's trying to get the contract with the government. What if he's trying to do more research on like how can we maximize the profits? How can we make sure this is distributed? And then he sees like a secret agreement between the company and the government of like, we're going to ship these bullets to this location in Vietnam. This is going to be our our introduction to it. But it's like, it's like super secret. I don't know.
Well, what if he even like comes across like a report like, oh, there's this report of our bullets, blowing up or something, what am I trying to say? Like misfiring, I guess. Yeah. And he like starts to read the report. He's like, oh shoot, like it's describing this guy getting hurt. And like he puts it together like, oh, that's my uncle. This is the guy. Like maybe he doesn't know exactly why his uncle like got, just figure they just say, oh, it was an accident, or like maybe there was even a cover up. Like somebody tries to say it was like a grenade or something went off, or like a landmine. And the uncle like doesn't remember maybe exactly what it was. He just knows he got hurt or something like that, So he thinks, oh yeah, it was a landmine. And then there's this report that's like, oh, actually we had this group of soldiers get seriously hurt, or maybe, I guess injured, probably not killed by these bullets we have. And it's like the secret report that they're trying to keep hidden, but he finds it and like puts it together. Oh, that's what actually hurt my uncle, was these bullets, or what did it.
So like maybe even at first he knows that there are reports, but he doesn't want to think that they're true. He's like, these are just.
Mm-hmm. I think it's unrelated. That. I think Mark is a salesman selling a bad product, but in his research of the product, he's like, oh, that their bad? This stuff doesn't even work.
Do you think that he knows that they're bad? That the bullets don't work?
I don't think so at first.
I agree.
I think at first he should have faith in the bullets.
Yeah.
And then maybe even it's not he reads the reports at first. Maybe he's kind of doing another round of like pitches to the top brass, and some like 2-star generals like, where are these reports that I hear of young men having misfire, and then he can just like dismiss that as like, oh, that's just hearsay. The guys over at Black Stallion, the competitor, ammunition company. I think
the Black Stallion boys tell you that.
yeah. No, honestly, I think he could just kind of dismiss it. But then I like Ethan, that idea, like he's reading these reports. Maybe as if you're looking at like PR, like maybe he's trying to like get out in front of them and say like, okay, well, how am I gonna disprove these or whatever? But then he like reads the report, and it's the story that his uncle tells him. Like he's like, platoon of 45 goes out, 7 guys return, like some hyper specific details. Reports indicate, investigation of the scene finds multiple rifles with exploded chambers, and ballistics report that many of the casualties, the bullets were like on them, like maybe like the magazines cooked on their bodies or something like that, like they were having them on their pouches. And he's like, oh my gosh, like
maybe it even lists like the names of like these men suffered like injuries, and his uncle's name is on there.
Like so like we had to have a reason, whenever you're telling the families what happened, like say that, oh, he like try to separate them, try to like say like, oh, this guy was actually over in this unit and he died bravely on this hill, and then this other guy like gets the Medal of Honor because he was last seen carrying a wounded comrade to safety or whatever.
What if there's like, around the base camps over in Vietnam, I don't know anything about hit war or whatever, but like what if they like picked their guns and their ammunition? It's like, oh yeah, no one ever picks the McGinley ones. Everyone knows they're dumb. They're like bad product. And so like if you look, like took a picture of like the base camps, it's like all these ammunition things are gone except the McGinley ones, and it's like, yeah, nobody even over there, just like you, like it's kind of like the bad food at the lunch table, or
from what I understand
at lunch,
like,
where it's like no one ever gets the coleslaw, like but it just keeps coming.
Yeah, from what I understand of like military procedure, it's pretty much standard issue.
You don't get to choose, I don't think, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just, here's your ammunition, go shoot. Like, yeah.
I mean, I do think that you could be issued different weapons. So Jonathan, you're saying,
we can drop that.
I do think it's interesting, because maybe a journalist, hear me out, we can introduce a friend of Damian Lewis's, a journalist who went over to Vietnam, noticed, like maybe, I don't know. Hold on. I'm trying to.
Also, what are we trying to show by saying that like the McGinley ones were known as crap or something like that?
I don't think that we have to say that. I do think that if you have one more person who is with Uncle Richie
to like verify,
yeah. Because obviously like if he reads a report about 45 guys going out and Uncle Richie's like, oh yeah, there were 45 of us, like that probably is super common. But if you could have like a photojournalist and maybe they have photographs of like
McGinley boxes, like the logo in the base camp of like them unloading, cartridges of the ammunition that has the logo on. It's like, well, obviously those are the ones that we were using.
So I don't think that they would have, I'm not a military expert by any means, but I don't think that they have the company name on the boxes. I think it just says ammunition. But what if part of the agreement between the government and McGinley, since it's like sort of a trial run, is the boxes are labeled as something else. And so that's how he knows that those are the bullets.
Yes.
Like it's labeled as ultra sweet chocolate or something like that. Like something that's like not confusable with any real, product or whatever. And he sees the photos. He's like, oh my gosh, like those are the things.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I like that. And that could be part of the plot too, is like part of him is he's trying to get this information to his journalist friend. The other part of it could be he's also trying to get in touch with this photojournalist or this photographer who was there, who has these pictures, and he's like trying to get all this evidence put together to present his case to give to the papers to like get this out. So like maybe that's also part of the puzzle is like I have to get this proof from this guy who might or may not have these pictures of it. That could prove.
Can the photojournalist be played by Brett Gelman, who played Murray Bowman in Stranger Things?
Why not?
Him playing two cheeky guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
I like it. And hear me out. I know this is a minute detail, doesn't matter. What if the boxes are called like West Virginian Appleseeds or something? Like that's the nickname they give the bullets, the ammunition.
I like that.
Yeah, again, like something that's like related to that can tie them back to McGinley, but not be super like obvious.
It could even say like the name of the town, like Sleepy
of
Apple Hollow, seeds or something like that. Like it's like the name. It's pretty obvious. It's from only one place. They wouldn't.
Yeah, or maybe it doesn't have to have the name of it, but like he has the photos and then another document that says like hereby under this jurisdiction of the military, like these rounds will be known as Appleseeds or something like that. But or maybe we could have the name. I don't know. Like they could. I don't.
I mean, I think that makes. I think they would have something to identify them to know that these are test things. These aren't permanent. We need to know that we're testing them to compare, get to compare to something. So the soldiers would be like, oh, we're going to start using these McGinley ones today. So they have to have them marked so they know that they're using the test ones to be able to go back and report on how they're using or whatever.
I guess whenever I say test, like you have to get something approved with the military before you can sell it to them. Like they have to do like field tests. So I think whenever I say test, I think I mean more like maybe, okay, they are they're unethical use bullets. They have like a razor wire in there or something. I don't know. Like,
nice.
So the use of them has to be very limited. They think maybe if we get good enough at disguising the bullets that we use. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that people would really check. But does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be a reason why they're using these bullets, these really special bullets, instead of just like standard issue,
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is like a hotbed area of, Viet Cong activity. And they're like, well, these are the only bullets we can use. Maybe it's like an exploding bullet. I know that's actually a thing, but like, some kind of exploding bullet or like this poison, it releases, I don't know, poison or something. I'm not a munitions guy, but like some kind of, very heavy duty, like almost like weapon of mass destruction, but it's unethical, very against, and like, we have to use these bullets to clear this area out, or we're going to get beat here. Like this is a major battlefield, battleground area to take Vietnam or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think the reasoning really is a huge deal, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Because this is about just continuing the agreement that they already have, right? And selling more ammunition.
Yeah.
So
Mark discovers that he sees the photos and he uncovers reports that line up with Richie's story. And then the photojournalist knows somebody back in the U.S., played by Damian Lewis, who heard that out of this infamous slaughter, I guess, of American soldiers, like there's a survivor, or and he tracks it down to West Virginia, and it just so happens that one of the survivors was from that town. I mean, it's unlikely, but it's historical fiction, right? And so Mark is trying to connect with the guy in D.C., and then, like, they're going to testify. The photojournalist is going to come back to the U.S. and testify about these unethical bullets that are not working.
So is the end of the movie going to be that we just see them, like he gets to Washington or whatever, or gets the information to the reporter, and the reporter starts, typing up his story, and the papers get out? Like, is that the end of the movie? Is like, there's this happy ending kind of like, the paper, you see the papers going out, and then like you see like FBI swarming the munitions factory and closing it down and arresting the everybody involved, and like is that the end, or is there like a big courtroom scene of like we have to litigate this thing?
I like the idea of like the information getting out. I'm imagining like Jeannie and Mark don't really want to call home because like Mark's dad just lost his job. Jeannie's grandpa just lost his reputation. Like, there's not really anyone to go home to.
I do think there needs to be one scene with Henry and with Mark, where Henry's like, they're always going to make money off of war, boy. You know, the more of them we kill and the fewer, you know, the more boys return home, the more money in their pocket. Like some like crazy speech about like, you may have won the battle, but you've lost, you know, like there's still going to be, you know, you can't stop everything, you know. And then yeah, the FBI can take them away for being complicit and try to hide this, you know, this cover up or whatever. But I do agree with you, Jonathan. I don't think that they go back to West Virginia. Coldwater, West Virginia.
Coldwater, is that what you said?
Yeah, cold or coal.
Yeah.
Who's Henry again?
Dustwater.
Is that his dad?
Henry's the grandpa. Or I don't know. I just gave him that name.
Oh,
Henry
okay,
McGinley. Christopher Walken.
Henry McGinley.
Christopher Walken, yeah.
McGinley. That's good stuff, guys. I mean, I want to watch the movie so bad. So
I feel like it's one of those movies that I would see the posters for and I wouldn't want to watch it, but then Ethan would buy it on DVD and I'd like catch him watching it one day and be like, oh, this is kind of cool.
It kind of feels like an Oscar bait movie a little bit, kind of like a Spotlight, you know?
yeah.
I was thinking Spotlight or like Fargo.
They knew and they let it happen.
This is definitely a Southwest airline. Like, oh, they have this. Oh no,
They have, yeah.
This kills 2 hours.
It's on Amazon Prime now. Cool.
And Shazam and like
The Shape of Water.
yeah.
Yeah. Did we decide how Jeannie's gonna get one over to Mark's side?
Well, I think she's on Mark's side, one, because she loves him, and like she doesn't want she doesn't want like a life without him. I think two, like she's pretty oblivious initially to like what her grandpa's company is actually creating, and so like she trusts Mark, believes him, and she's scared ultimately, but like, you know, in the middle of the night when they drive away, she goes with him. Real quick, what do you guys think the title of the movie should be?
I was just thinking that too. I'm trying to think of a title for this.
I need one for the podcast title.
I was thinking like something like ballistic something, or like,
okay.
See, like those Oscar bait dramas, it's like one, you know, Spotlight, like one word.
yeah.
So like,
What if you call it Appleseeds?
Ooh, Appleseed.
Appleseed, because the bullets are nicknamed Appleseed in the documents, and it could, that's the thing too, because like Oscar bait movies, like they don't really do like a title card, you know, sort of thing like Marvel movies do. So like it would have to be like, oh, that's why it's called Appleseed, and also Mark only ate apples whenever he's a kid. Like it's like very loosely connected. Yeah. And then Uncle Richie would be like, you know, the smallest apple seed can grow into a tree that's got
smallest apple seed.
if you have faith like an apple seed.
Yeah. You know, but yeah. I'm trying to think. I can't even do like an apple back in Jerusalem, because like obviously if they're in the Bible Belt, like they, you know, Jesus said faith the size of a mustard seed. We don't have none of those here in our part of the world, but we have these here apple seeds, and they
got
can provide
these apple seeds.
apple seeds.
Yeah, they got that slow southern accent, that apple.
Apple seed.
An Appalachia.
Yeah.
Do you think? Okay, real quick. Do you think that Uncle Richie dies? Like, does he like die from complications from his wounds after he gets back home?
Dude, that could be. I hate when movies do this, but that could be the end of the movie, where like Mark does get a call from his family, and it's about Uncle Richie. Like his dad's like, I want you to know, Uncle Richie, he passed last night or something. Go ahead.
Uncle Richie dies before the wedding, and that's the catalyst. Like maybe he's on the fence for the whole time.
Ooh.
I don't know if that undoes what we were saying earlier, but like, yeah, Uncle Richie dies, and he's like, screw the wedding, we're going. I don't know if I like that now that I said it.
I don't know that we could do that. I don't think you really, I mean, it's not going to change what we did. I think you could still have all of this is building up to like, okay, this is the final straw, like we're going. But I think even if you don't have that happen where he dies, he's still going to go to Washington, D.C. You know, he's still going to run away. Mm-hmm. So I think if you want Uncle Richie to die, it's just a matter of, do you want him to die before they expose it or after it? I think I would almost rather him die afterwards, and almost you could have some kind of wrap up at the end, like what?
Like we won, but at what cost?
Kind of, but I kind of think I want the uncle to like see what happens and be like proud of his nephew. Like, thank you for doing this for all me and all the guys that like, there could have been more like me, you know, maybe he like writes a letter before he dies. And like, you know, that's like the final scene is like Mark gets this letter in the mail and it's like, hey, I'm about to I don't have much time left. I just want to tell you how much I'm proud of you for this or something, that could be more heartfelt. But
no, I like that. Yeah.
Or he goes back home for the wedding, and then that's where he gets like, oh, your uncle left this note for you. And, that's so he has to go back home, maybe.
I do think we need to flesh out the wedding a little bit more, maybe. Because, obviously, Jeannie's okay with them not doing it. I think there could be a line or two in there about, you think that these bullets are paying for your wedding? How do you think, that we got these flowers? How do you think that we got this dress? How do you think we got this nice place? It's the bullets that your grandpappy makes,
Yeah. And then he could be like, but you see those flowers? There's blood on those flowers.
Yeah. This wind's covered in lead.
Yeah. You ain't going to be throwing rose petals down. You're going to be throwing brass casings down the aisle.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then
Mark, stop it.
Yeah. So because Jonathan, you were like, I don't think that they have much to go back home to after the big exposure. So do you think that they elope? Do you think that they
I think they elope. And they go live in Washington, D.C. or they go move to Maryland or whatever and start their own life there and get eloped,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With just a couple of bucks in their pocket.
Well, probably more than a couple because I guess the company's going down, it's.
And they can start an apple orchard.
And then they have a kid and they name it Rich.
They name him Johnny.
They name him Rich.
Yeah, they name him Rich. Yeah. You're named after two of the bravest.
His name is Richard Henry. Actually, probably not Henry. That's probably bad taste. We'll just do Rich. So that is Appleseed, the movie.
2027.
Guys, we made that movie.
Yeah. Guys, we made that movie. Stay tuned for more movies that we make. Kind of.